You'll need to start off in Google Chrome, since Google SketchUp is also a Google product. They work well together. Then if you log into your G Suite account or any other your personal Google account, that will allow you to log in more easily to the SketchUp online version of it. So if you go to app.sketchup.com, it'll take you to a page like this, which means that you can also access this from home. If you go to name your untitled file, it should come up with something to log in. Now, if you get some kind of error message, that's probably because it's blocking pop-ups. And if you go to the upper right of your browser, there should be a little icon that maybe has like a red X. So click on that and say allow pop-ups. But if you scroll down, you can go to sign in with Google. And it should recognize that you've already logged into your school account. Okay, from there you can go to New Model, pick Simple Template Feet and Inches, and then we're going to get started to make your maze. My recommendation in starting your project is to zoom out so that your person is small and to the side so that you know that your maze is kind of a good scale and proportion to the person. Then I would start out with a big rectangle because most mazes, from afar look like a rectangle. And the next step is really important. Go into Paint and choose what material you want your maze to be made out of and paint it that from the beginning, because then you're going to eat your way through to put paths through your corn maze, and everything will remain painted there. It'll make it easier instead of later when you have tons of little pieces and parts having to go through and paint everything separately. It's easier if you start out with the whole thing painted and just kind of delete away sections as you go. So your maze is going to have a lot of rectangular paths, but most corn mazes have an intricate design to it. So I want you to think about what theme you want to go with and draw something in the middle. And what you're going to use for that is just the pencil tool and choose the squiggly line version. So you might want to start with the center shape first, or whatever your theme is going to be, and then figure out how the paths are going to look for that. Okay, and then once you have your middle design, work back with rectangles to kind of put paths. One path is going to reach that inner area, and then you should have a path coming out from the other side of that inner design, making its way back out to another exit. Okay, there should only be one way in and then one way out, and it would be good if that path reaches the middle from the one end and then comes out the other side. So once you have these pieces, then you're going to work through to put other dead ends in there. Now, if this is not cooperating and you want to go smaller, you can zoom in, which sometimes makes it a little easier to get the rectangle that you want. And if you grab from the corner, it helps to line things up, as opposed to, let's say, you start from here and now you're trying to get it to match perfectly. See how it's like hard to know whether it's really reaching that point or not? Now you could reference this by just coming over and hovering over it, and then come out this way, and then now you know they're lined up. But I like just to grab the corner. It makes it a little easier. So let's say you add a few paths. This is going to end up being a dead end. And to see what's going on as you go, I recommend switching to the eraser tool. Kind of erase your way through. So if you get rid of this little line, it'll open up the next section. Now, if you make a mistake with the eraser, don't just try to redraw what happened. I would recommend using the undo tool, which is in this lower left corner, and just undo it immediately as opposed to trying to redraw something. Okay, so you can continue working through until you have a lot of paths. I'm going to take you to the next stage, so hold on one second. Okay, this is after I finish putting in the rest of the paths. So you have paths going around all the sides, you have one path for the entrance, one exit, and you have to make it into the middle in order to get out to the other side. Okay, I still have my person over here for scale. What I also did was try to make it look a little different, so I painted the inner design slightly different colors to go with the character. Now I drew some lines in here so that I could differentiate between this yellow area and the white area. Now, if you want the ground to come out as a different color, so for example, I really want this shell to be red. What I'm going to do is flip my view so that I am looking at it from below. I'm going to use my rectangle tool to draw a rectangle across the whole thing. Okay. And now if I look at it from here, I can go to my paint bucket, and let's say I really want red. I can paint the ground red now. Let's get that spot maybe. Yeah, it's not letting me get that spot. Okay. Now that everything's painted, I want to lift the walls. So here's the trick for lifting the walls. I'm going to go to push-pull. I'm going to grab one section of wall. I'm going to start pulling it up, but now I'm going to type an 8 and an apostrophe, which represents feet. So in the lower right-hand corner, it should say 8 feet. If you look in the lower right, it says distance 8 feet. So that's how high we're going up, and then I'm going to press enter. So that's 8 feet tall, which you probably don't want your maze too much taller than the average person. Now that this one's 8 foot tall, you can reference this for all of your other walls. So if I click this once and then go over here to click a line on the wall that's already up and click again, it's now going to match it. So click once, click something that's already pulled up, and it's referencing it. So the tricky part here is making sure that you don't miss any. So sometimes it's helpful to do as much as you can from one view, but then switch your viewpoint to another angle to make sure you didn't miss any. Okay, and don't forget your middle pieces. Okay, so keep going. So when you're done, this is what you should be looking at. So again, we have it painted, we have an entrance, we have an exit, we have a path to the middle and a path out of the middle. Your walls are 8 feet tall and they're a consistent height. Looks like I missed one over there. That's what I was saying about changing views. Sometimes it makes it more obvious that you missed something. Whoop, I missed this one over here too. And that one over there. Okay, hopefully I got them all now. So to download your file, in order to upload it to Canvas to turn it in, what you're going to do is go over to this folder icon and choose where it says download. I don't really care which one you pick. I think both will open, but since it's 2018, let's go with that. And click OK. Now sometimes this takes about a minute. When it's done, it's going to pop up at the bottom here, and it should stop flashing. Now you know it's in your downloads folder. So when you go to Canvas and you go to submit assignment, you're going to choose your file, and you're going to have to look in your downloads folder to find that file to upload.